Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Shannon Graham Cornell from Better Home Organizing. And today we are, I think, on day 20 of the Facebook Live March event. So I'm glad you're still sticking with me and watching today. And hope you're enjoying it so far. I wanted to talk a little bit today about backstock and having supplies in your home, and why I actually think that's a good idea, and but how to keep that under control so that you aren't living in a warehouse. So if you've been watching along as I've been doing these, you know that one of the things that I talk a lot about is getting rid of things. Things you don't use, things you don't love, you don't need, things don't spark joy, etc. But today I'm actually going to talk about buying extras of things. I know that sounds crazy. And before you think that I've gone round the bend, let me explain. So, there are lots of reasons that people get organized, and they are all completely valid. I think my personal reason is I am organized to avoid annoyance. My superpower is getting irritated by inanimate objects. So tangled wires, you don't even want to see me deal with that. But if I can't access something easily, if I can't put something away, if I can't find something, if I have to think hard about something every time I want to get it or use it or whatever, I get highly aggravated. So honestly, I think the main reason that I'm organized is because I'm trying to reduce the amount of time I spend annoyed. But I think one of the worst things, it might be tied with getting annoyed if I have to put something away and it's just too hard to put it away. That's pretty annoying. But I think maybe tied for one of the worst things is when I run out of something and there's no reason in the world that I needed to run out of it, because I have a system. And as long as I use my system, then I don't run out of things. So I am 100% a believer in the idea of backstock. So part of the reason is, again, I've talked a lot about getting rid of things and decluttering and all of that. But I think one of the reasons why I like the idea of extra supplies is because they are consumable. These aren't things you're stuck with for the rest of your life. You're going to use them up. It's stuff that we use, it's stuff that we use up, and it's stuff that needs to be replenished. So, and as I said, I genuinely dislike, first of all, I don't like going to the grocery store. I don't like shopping. So if I have to do it under duress, that's even worse than just having to do it, in the regular course of business. So, I don't enjoy that. And I don't like the extra anxiety that it causes to have to deal with not having something I need. So, like I said, I'm very, very much a believer in extra supplies, in backstock. But unless you have a whole lot of extra storage in your house for all of the categories of consumables that you use in your home, you're not going to be able to have 100 rolls of toilet paper and 15 boxes of Lucky Charms. You're just not. So having a supply is good, but you don't want to turn your home into a warehouse. So what we're going to talk about today is, how do you have a well-stocked home? What are some tips for having a well-stocked home, but where you're not overwhelmed by your inventory? So we'll talk about a few things. But I'm going to start with my absolute number one favorite happiness hack when it comes to having a well-stocked home without getting overwhelmed. If nothing else I tell you, in fact, if you want to stop listening after I'm done telling you this one, you don't want to do that, because the other stuff I have is good too. But this one is the key takeaway. And it is this: determine your stocking level. And what I mean by that is, for every item that you have, figure out what is the appropriate level of backstock that you want to have for that item. And then, especially if it's really important to you and you don't ever want to have to think about it again, write it down. So I'm actually going to show you. This is, I don't know if you can see this, but this is from my house, and it is the stocking levels for our groceries. So my husband and I don't like to go grocery shopping. And we also want to make the whole process of meal prepping as simple as possible, because we don't really enjoy that either. So what we did was we sat down and we figured out what is the number of unopened, so, completely, pure, unopened items that we want to have for all of the foods that we typically use. So the stuff on here, like the everyday stuff. So like eggs, mayonnaise. We're big fans of half and half in our coffee. So half and half. What is the amount that we want to make sure when we come back from the grocery store, we have in our home? And, for eggs, we have 2. We want 2 containers of eggs. We want, 2 packages of bacon, and we want 1 mayonnaise. And again, these are unopened. So it doesn't matter how many, what the state of the mayonnaise jar in the refrigerator is. In the pantry, there is always 1 container of mayonnaise. And we wrote it down. And part of the reason that we did that is we never have to think about it again. It's like you open the pantry. Do you have 1 jar of mayonnaise in there? Perfect, good to go. Move on to the next thing. You never have to think about it again. I've done the same thing in our bathroom. So when I did the reorganization of our bathroom, what I didn't talk about was the fact that wall unit that was hanging to the left in the linen closet, that's all backstock for our bathroom. So that was the purpose for that hanging unit. So our extra bar soap is in there, our extra toothpaste, my extra contact lens cleaner, extra shampoos. So we know for all of the things in there what our stocking levels are, and it's usually 1. So for example, I have 1 active shampoo in my shower, and I have 1 sitting in readiness in the linen closet. And the minute I switch out and I put the 1 from the linen closet into the shower, I order myself a new shampoo, because that way I will always have 1, I add that to the shopping list. So I will always have 1 unopened bottle of shampoo in my closet. The nice thing about that is, and we've adjusted, you can probably see on here, there's some scratch outs, right? So as our dieting has changed, we've made adjustments, and we stay on top of that. So we know and it makes it so simple to have backstock, to be able to keep track of it, but then also, and not have to think about it ever again, but then also we're not overwhelmed by it. It's not a big burden to store 1 extra shampoo bottle. I don't need 15 of them, however. So I only need 1. And so that's what we do. We stick to our limits. Now, if we're doing something crazy with eggs and we need way more eggs than normal, then obviously we would we would up our level for that week. But for the most part, we stick with our stocking levels. So that's the main thing. It has made such a difference. The other thing is, and again, you want to adjust it, because you may find, wow, I'm storing way too many of these things. Or you've brought in extra categories of things that you now need to store, and you need to give up some of your storage space for, that new category. So you may need to make adjustments, but Figuring that out once and then never having to think about it again is great. And knowing that you will never run out of something ever again is phenomenal. So we keep track of bathroom products that way, groceries, laundry room products, anything that's a consumable that matters to us at all. And that, if you're stuck and you need it right now, you don't want to have to make a trip to the store. It makes a huge difference. So a couple of other tips. One, use out of the way storage to store your back stock. So as I said in my example, the linen closet that you saw, that wall unit holds my extra shampoo. I don't put my extra shampoo in the shower. So that's high value real estate. I'm not storing 2 jars of mayonnaise in the refrigerator. My active jar is in the refrigerator and my back stock is in the pantry. So think of out of the way places, your garage, a laundry room, a linen closet, anywhere you have extra shelves in your basement. Those are good places, but have it be a consistent space so that it's easy for you to take your stocking level and go to that spot. Each of our categories on here says pantry. We look in the pantry for this stuff. Refrigerator, we look in the refrigerator for this stuff. We have our household supplies in the linen closet, in the laundry room. That's where we go for that. So anyway, so use out of the way storage. Reserve your high value real estate for the active item. So the things that you are currently using have easy to get to, easy to access, easy to put things away, but and don't clutter that up unless you have a lot of space. If you have a massive laundry room and you can store not only your active plus your backup laundry detergent, fabulous, that's great. But if you're limited on storage, choose the active space to keep your, the high value space to keep your active only and put your storage somewhere else. That being said, keep your expirables close. The things that have expiration dates. You don't want to put that somewhere that's so out of the way that you forget you have it and you let things expire. So storing food that may have a shorter shelf life, so to speak, in your garage may not be the best choice. But if that's what the space you have, then maybe on your list where you're keeping your stocking levels, if part of your process as you're planning for your grocery trip is to go check your backstock area, take a second and look at your dates. So, and that way you can keep an eye on expirables and be sure to use those up. And if you run into a situation where your things are expiring that you have in backstock, your stocking levels are too high. You need to adjust them downward. So we ran into that. We were on a big salad dressing kick. And so we had I forget how many bottles of salad dressing we said we needed. And we got to the point where we got over the salad thing and we were throwing away completely unopened bottles of salad dressing, which was really bad. So we adjusted our stocking levels. I don't even think salad dressing is on our stocking levels anymore. We're really over the salad thing. Anyway, so keep expirables close or come up with a system to maintain it. And another thing too is even though I do think it's a good idea to keep a supply, one of my favorite things that Gretchen Rubin, who I've talked about before, and she's got a new book, Outer Order, Inner Calm, that came out at the beginning of March. One of the tips that she has in that book is store things at the store. Let your grocery store, your pharmacy, your big box store, let that be the place that stuff in bulk gets stored. Again, unless you have the room for it, but you're going to have to make that decision based on how much storage you realistically have or how much of your floor space you want to dedicate to storing your backstock. But a good rule of thumb is store things at the store. And go and get the reasonable amount that you need in order to get you from shopping trip to shopping trip. And then the last thing is beware the allure of the buy one, get one. So I had a terror moment a couple of weeks ago when my husband came down with the flu right after I got over a really bad cold. And he didn't realize he had the flu yet. And he was trying all these different products. Like, I need an antihistamine. I need an antihistamine I can take more frequently. I need cough syrup. And we have a CVS that just opened right down the street from our home. And the CVS was having a buy one, get one on cold and flu products. And every time he would go to the store, he would do the buy one, get one, and he would bring that stuff home. Now, buy one, get one. And of course, the first thing I think of when somebody walks into my house with something, literally the first thing I think of is, where am I going to put it? Where am I going to store it? Do I have storage for this? If it's no, I don't want it in my house. If it's yes, then I, take a deep breath and I know it'll be okay. But buy one, get ones can be really great values if you have places to store the extra, and if it's something you were going to use anyway. I don't recommend if you're trying out a new product. So let me tell you how many things of antihistamine I had. If you're trying out a new product that you aren't sure you're going to use, don't take advantage of the buy one, get one. Just get the one and leave the other at the store, or the buy one, because the problem is you now have a second one that is completely unopened. Now you have to deal with getting rid of that or storing it. And if it's not something that you're going to use, you really don't want to store it. So buy one, get one is only a deal if it was something that you were going to use anyway. If it is not something that you were going to use, or that, that is of value to you, in terms of using that one up as well, because it's only a value if it's a consumable, then leave it at the store. It is not a deal. It is an obligation. So I would just caution you to do that. Fortunately, because I did the stuff that we ended up having are really things that we will use. We got rid of the antihistamine that he didn't like, and we kept the one that he did. And so we're good now. But it'll be a while before I run out of NyQuil. Let's just put it that way. So, but that's okay. We will use it. And so it's all right to have. But I've reached my stocking level for NyQuil. We don't need any more, no matter how many come with the one I'm buying. So that is my last tip for that. So again, the number one piece of advice I would give is make a conscious decision about what your stocking levels are, and then stick to that for your extra supplies. But have extra so that you don't run out and you don't get annoyed by your lack of necessary consumable products. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you tomorrow for our next installment. Bye, everyone.